What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 554. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. The hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful here with you, my lovely.
Nice on this post-Easter day as we record this. And of course, joining us, we're so happy to have him, is Teddy Alexis out in LA. How you doing, Teddy?
Hi, ladies. I'm great.
Girl, we were just talking about that. Using terms like that. I love it. Well, I am very happy. I am in Northern California to your West Coast over there, Teddy. And of course, we've got you in Kansas.
Girl,
What is that?
it's getting real out here.
It must be getting real because one of our first topics here is Kansas is moving to join Texas and other states in requiring porn sites to verify people's ages. And it's the story we've been talking about since last year that you cannot watch Pornhub in these certain states like Texas. Well, apparently there's a move to get Kansas because local officials are trying to, statewide officials are trying to make it also where they want age verification. And I know I keep saying this every single time because people are wondering, are these particular states banning porn? And the answer is no. What's really happening is Pornhub actually is restricting it, but only because particular states are requiring age verification. And what I mean by that is they're requiring people to show their actual statewide ID or some form of identification, but you have to actually then take your picture with it, submit it, and that's where Pornhub is actually not liking that because that puts people at risk when you start going down that route.
Yeah.
And you are in Kansas, and I guess it's one thing that you're there, but now you don't get porn. What?
Girl, I don't know what I would do with myself if I can't get the porn. I don't know. I will go insane. What will I masturbate to?
We'll send you
What?
some stuff, I promise.
Thank you. I have a couple things on my laptop, but I don't want to like load it up with all of that stuff and then the jizz on top of it. That was just
Oh
be
my
too much.
God.
I can't believe it. So hopefully I'm out of here before this law is enacted and I can get my porn nice and free and clear, and I won't have to go through the hoops that they're proposing in order to get this law passed. This is crazy. I don't understand it.
Exactly. And I am actually in my hometown where I grew up in Fremont, California, which was just named, get this, America's happiest city in in America. Is that crazy?
Because they have
That's
porn, that's
crazy.
why.
Because we have porn, exactly. But Fremont, California, I can't believe this. It's so funny, and it's not been. It's this was done by Wallet Hub, and they had a whole set of criteria. In addition, Fremont has the lowest separation and divorce rate. It also has a medium income that's above 75,000 at nearly
Oh.
80%, and obviously money isn't everything, but like I said, divorce rates are very low here, and weather is also a great. Ingredients include a positive mental state, a healthy body, strong social connections, job satisfaction, and financial well-being. Those were the criteria. It drew among various findings of positive psychology research in order to determine which among more than 180 of the US largest cities had the happiest people in America. And Fremont was number one. I can't believe
Wow.
where I grew up in. I'm actually, you grow up where you grow up, and it is what it is. And I was always like, oh, there's nothing here. And I couldn't wait to get out. And I was going to the nearest cities, like, of course, Berkeley and San Francisco and even San Jose, California. But now I
Oh,
have to
damn.
say, when I come home, there's a lot of places to go walking and hiking, and nature's really abundant here. And I am enjoying it a lot. And so kudos to Fremont for being the happiest place in America right now. So
Are you happy now? I saw you on a hike today, right?
I was very happy on that hike today. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. So good. I know, it's so funny. Okay, well, as we all know, Easter was yesterday, which some people were celebrating, but a lot of people didn't know that it was also Transgender Awareness Day as well. And it's just because Easter, it's always the same day, May 31st, Transgender Awareness Day. It just so happens that Easter fluctuates given the particular year. Well, they both united yesterday, which I think is really good. Joe Biden actually gave a really beautiful shout out to transgender Trans Day of Visibility, saying all kinds of great things. Oh, Transgender Day of Visibility, we honor the extraordinary courage and contributions of transgender Americans and reaffirm our nation's commitment to forming a more perfect union where all people are created equal and treated equally. Who wasn't celebrating it and who was being thrown under the bus yesterday, rightly so, was Caitlyn Jenner, of all people,
Oh my God.
Girl.
saying,
Here
saying,
she goes again.
I
Here
am
she goes.
absolute. This is what she tweeted. I am absolutely disgusted that Joe Biden has declared the most holy of holy days, a self proclaimed devout Catholic, as Transgender Day of Visibility. The only thing you should be declaring on this day is he is risen. Well, as you can imagine, people were coming for Caitlyn, rightly so, because they were pointing out, you dumbass, no, he didn't do this. This day has been around since 2009, transgender, excuse me, Trans Day of Visibility, and it just fluctuated. It just so happens that it fell on the same day. And what she should have been saying is, thank you, President Biden, for actually acknowledging both Easter and this particular day. But everybody was coming for her. I mean, are you surprised, Teddy, when you hear that Caitlyn Jenner once again is putting her foot in her mouth, her big foot?
Well, she has a big foot, and we know this.
Okay.
I was
um,
not expecting that.
Well,
I am
you
not
throw shade, I'm going to
surprised.
throw it harder.
I am not surprised because she doesn't understand the concept of a lunar calendar and knows that it changes from year to year depending on the moon, bitch. So we can't plan it that way. So I'm sorry, we're not moving Trans Visibility Day because it just happens to be Easter. Let's celebrate it both together. Anyways, the colors for trans people are kind of like pastels Easter Day, so it's in the theme. So be quiet, girl. Be quiet.
Yeah, how are you going to, Cody, be transgender, Caitlyn, and not even know
And
that
transphobic.
and
Yeah.
transphobic for one, and then get it all wrong and post this? I mean, are you surprised that everyone was coming for her?
No, I find it par for the course as far as
On
Caitlyn
brand.
Jenner,
Yeah.
exactly, because she is very divisive when it comes to trans rights, and it's almost counterintuitive because, like you said, Steve. This was going to be my point also. Like you said, she's trans and she owes a lot of her visibility to her being trans and coming out and transitioning so late in life. And
Hmm.
for her to come out and speak against this day, boggles my mind. It is so against what she is supposed to stand for. And anybody who knows anything would know that these two holidays can exist at the same time. You can celebrate trans people and celebrate Jesus and Easter and he is risen at the same time. And like you said, like Teddy said, incorporate those colors into everything and you'll be just fine.
Big shout out to my best friend's restaurant here in San Francisco, Asia SF, which is closing after 26 years, but has featured the ladies of Asia, which are transgender. And I went over the weekend to sort of give my goodbyes and see some amazing performances. But the good news of Asia SF is they're going to continue to do pop ups. The ladies will in various capacities. So it lives on. But they got a huge award by the mayor yesterday on Trans Visibility Day, which is really exciting as well. Okay, well, Teddy and I were going to talk about this, and this was what happened where you're at in West Hollywood, or at least in LA. I'll get to it in a second, and what I'm really talking about is the rise of hate crimes towards Jews, and also our LGBTQ has risen dramatically. Oh, and we're all aware of that. But police are searching for a suspect who committed a violent hate crime in West Hollywood. And this is a few weeks ago. We wanted to talk about it, but and I know, Chetty, you'll have something to add to it. But essentially,
Mhm.
a man on St. Patrick's Day was riding on during the evening through West Hollywood on one of those scooters, and a guy was with a group of guys, punched him off of it, hit him in the face like brutally, and started beating him. And he's gone on record to, they're still looking, I think they're still looking for this guy, but it's really awful what's going on. And when you can't even be what you consider to be safe spaces like WeHo, or I've heard of other incidences recently happening where I live near, the Village. And Teddy, you had a little bit addendum to add to this story that we were going to talk about recently.
Yeah, so the article that you sent me actually has other incidents listed, and one of my best friends, it's in the picture being mugged.
Wow.
Wow.
And I know this and I recognize him because he's one of my best friends, and I knew when that happened to him. And three guys, this is in Santa Monica Boulevard, one of the gayest places in the planet.
Yeah.
And he's just walking down the street. It's not even 10, it's like 9:30, you guys. And
Wow.
he's walking to his apartment, and three guys, one of them had like a rifle. It was like a huge, I don't know guns. It's just a big
Right.
gun, you know. And they took his phone, his wallet, and like they threw him on the floor and everything. So just we just have to be very careful out there, because it just seems like violence is on the rise, and I don't have the numbers to back that up. It's just anecdotally seems like we just have to be more careful, because in a place like Santa Monica Boulevard, where
Right.
there's so many establishments, and you just walk and everything is gay there,
Yeah.
and everything is safe, and I don't understand how we can be that unsafe at that time of the night. It just seems like nonsensical to me. So yeah, when you sent me the article, the first thing I said is, yeah, I know this guy. This is one of my best friends. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh,
That's so
wow.
sad. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, when you hear about this, when you the numbers are on the rise towards the Jewish community for sure, and the numbers have dramatically risen, hate crimes towards LGBTQ plus people as well. What are your thoughts? And when it can happen in places like West Hollywood?
Yeah. First, I want to say, come on, Teddy, with the SAT word, anecdotal, come through. I loved it. I loved. I know this is a serious topic, but I just had to. I was very impressed. So
Shout
thank you
You're
for
out
that.
to
welcome.
that.
uh, Now back to the topic. I think that this is should be a wake up call for everybody. And I'm not trying to say don't live your life, don't have fun, but be as safe as possible. Be mindful of your surroundings. Take more people. The group, the buddy system is definitely something that we should all be trying to enforce and keep in mind as far as when we go out, when we have fun, just to make sure that we are not the object of violence, because it's just getting too crazy, and it makes me worried for my safety here in Kansas, because it's not Santa Monica Boulevard out here, I can tell you that much. And just people everywhere, honestly, because if it can happen there, it can actually happen anywhere.
Absolutely. And I just think we all have to be, sadly, but it's just for your own good. I love the buddy system. And I think that's really great that, we just have to look out for each other. So definitely. Okay. Well, I mentioned I'm in San Francisco right now. And good news for my OnlyFans. There's a show out here, Baloney. We've had the guys from Baloney. Baloney's an all male review. It's really good if you're coming to San Francisco or you're in the Bay Area. It runs from April 4th through the 20th. And we had Michael and Rory on the show probably, well, I think this time last year talking about it. Well, it's starting up again, and they do some hot scenes. And think cabaret, all male review. It's just a really great show. It's at the classic Oasis. south of Market, which is really good. And people can go to sfbaloney.com. But I shot with Rory, who is part of Baloney. He's the choreographer over the
Oh.
weekend for my OnlyFans. And this week, I'm about to shoot with another guy that's in Baloney as well, who goes by Daddy Kano, Kano as well. And so I was just thinking, like, wow, it's like I'm doing the whole team. Like, I need to, who am I? I'm like a cheerleader that
Girl.
Stevie does baloney.
I do baloney. I feel like a cheerleader, right? I'm just like ticking off the numbers and all for good content. And I'm really happy about it. But
Love it.
yeah,
Rory is
but
hot too. I just looked at his Instagram.
Rory's
I'm
really
nosy.
hot and Daddy Kano is really hot. And so, yeah, good stuff. And check out sfbaloney.com if you're going to be in the Bay Area from April 4th through the 20th. Okay, well, let's move on to celebrities, one of my favorite topics. And let's start off with probably one of my current favorites, because he just keeps serving it. And I'm watching him in the brand new Apple TV series Palm Royale, and I'm talking about Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin was recently on the Clarkson show, and there's a great video of him where he's talking about giving the GLAAD award to Bad Bunny and how Bad Bunny is such a great ally, and he's telling Kelly how it's a really great time because different generations from him, like today, the music industry, people like Bad Bunny can paint their nails, they can wear skirts, they can be allies to our community. He said when he was starting off, it was a totally different generation. He was afraid to be himself, but he says this generation are it's so lucky, and he said we're so lucky to have them because they're really teaching us how to, if you're LGBTQ plus, these are your heroes right now. If you're not, be an ally to the community. And he just was glowing and so happy and shouting out to Bad Bunny, who is also really hot as well. But Teddy, I know you have a soft spot for Ricky as well. When you hear this, talking
Mhm.
about his past growing, trying to get into the industry and how great it is to be a part of it now, what are your thoughts?
I am really excited about all of this. But first of all, I play Bad Bunny's dad twice in a couple of his videos, so I have a soft
What?
spot for him. Yes,
Oh
yes.
my, you're kidding.
No, I'm not
That,
kidding.
that's
Oh my
I'm in
God.
amazing.
Vete and Ignorantes. You're welcome,
Ye-
everybody.
Well, I mean, you definitely look old enough to be his
Oh.
dad, so that's awesome.
Well, I could be his dad because this is his 20s,
He
right?
is, yeah, right. And that's what Ricky's talking about, right.
And
Right.
you're in your 50s. That's awesome.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. Because you're in your 50s, not everybody's in their
And
50s.
I still look good,
You
okay?
look amazing. You see, he said, don't come for me, and he's the one coming for
He's
me
coming for
today.
you, right,
I
exactly.
I
wanted you
need to
off
go
your
to
guard.
HR. Stevie, please. Harassment.
Exactly. Well, let's hear from you, Cody. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on Mr. Ricky Martin?
I haven't played Bad Bunny's dad in anything, but I think that this is amazing. I think that Ricky Martin should definitely be uplifting our allies like Bad Bunny, because the more that we uplift these people that support us, the more people will be less afraid to come out and actually stand behind us. And we need allies, honestly, in order to get to the next level and make sure that we are, you know, kind of being more accepted, and sexuality is being more accepted in the general populace.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of age, Ricky is 52, which I love as
Mhm.
somebody in
Hot.
my 50s. And
Yes.
moving
Can I make
on,
my point? Hold
yeah,
on.
make your point. I know.
I
You're
thought we
not
moved
gonna
on from you.
you're not gonna cut the Puerto Rican out of the Puerto Rican
Thank
topic.
I'm
you.
Puerto Rican.
Half.
That's true. Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay. No, no, I agree with you, Cody. And we have to think about these alierships as the people that can really actually make space for the less advantage. And so having a straight man that it's doing so much for the community, he's always very inclusive, his videos in his concerts, it's huge. And so I applaud it. And just the fact that Ricky Martin was there, like, opening the door to the new generation. It's amazing. And so people that don't have to hide anymore. Because remember, Ricky had to hide for
Oh,
decades who he was. If you think about,
Menudo and
yeah,
Yeah.
General Hospital and on and on. Even when he was his solo career. Remember the Barbara Walters incident?
Oh yeah.
gross. You remember that? I was so uncomfortable when I saw that.
Oh, sorry,
And
not Barbara Walters. Was it Barbara Walters or
yeah, it
was
was Barbara
okay, yeah.
Walters. Yes,
Right.
yes.
Outing him.
So
So
she was like, Are you?" And I'm like, "Yo, like it's
calm
the
down.
'90s, right? Like
Right.
it's so unsafe out there."
Yeah, it's the 90s.
Girl, it's
Girl.
1999. The
We're
streets
not
are
there
rough.
yet. Give us a
Yeah,
little time. We'll get to Bad
Exactly.
Bunny and all that, but we're not there yet.
yeah.
So, exactly. Well, from one hottie to another, and I'm talking about Luke Evans, who's 44. I love the ages that we're seeing. Luke
So
Evans
hot.
was, love it, was just talking about the heartbreaking but deeply relatable reason why he left his hometown at the age of 16. He says, you could almost disappear. That's the reason London appealed to me when I was a young man. He says, you want to find your community, and often where gay people are brought up, there isn't one. Or their shame, or their secrets. So, to feel free and to feel part of something, you go to a big city where you'll find people like you. And then says, it's what gay people have done for decades and will keep on doing. Though I do hope that these smaller villages and cities are a bit more accepting now. And it's true. I mean, so many of us, I think, have all gravitated to large cities. I mean, I went from Fremont, wasn't the happiest place when I was growing up, to local Berkeley, and then, of course, San Francisco before I made my way to LA, and, of course, New York City, and you two as well. I agree with it that we're very a community that wants to is drawn because we have dreams and we know that often, like what Ricky's saying, often many of us older generations weren't able to express ourselves in the cities that we grew up in. And so Cody, when you hear this, what Luke Evans is saying, but that he hopes that smaller places have somewhere to look forward to, or that it's changing. What are your thoughts? It's coming from
So
Kansas right now.
yeah, so this is completely my perspective from Kansas because I am here right now, and I think it is more progressive and open-minded than when I was here before, but I still feel like they got a long way to go. There are 3 gay bars here, I think,
Oh,
in Wichita, which I think is way more than I would have expected, number one, and definitely way more than that was what was here when I lived here back in the 90s. The rough and tumble 90s is that he was trying to tell us. um, also, but what makes me think that it hasn't come as far as I would hope that it would, or that I know that it can evolve to, is because when I'm on Grinder,
Oh,
everybody,
here we
no one
go.
is showing their face on Grinder. And
Oh,
that is very worrying to me. And it makes me
mm,
wonder if I should take my face off of Grinder as well. Like very, very few people, I would say about maybe 10% of the people on Grinder actually show their face. And I actually had to put in my profile in the bio that if you don't show me your face, I'm gonna block you. And I've never had to do that before. So uh
interesting.
it
Yeah.
is a very, very interesting thing that I did not expect when I came
Keep us
here.
posted on that, on what you decide and what you're seeing there, because we love to report on. Now this is a good experiment, something that we
this
could.
is very interesting field research for sure.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
oh yes. A man on the street is what I
Yeah.
am for sure.
Teddy, as somebody that has come
Mhm,
from Puerto Rico
mhm,
and then moved over to LA, which is very accepting and open, talk about
sure.
that move. What drew you? I know you're in the entertainment industry, but talk about that move and the switch.
Well, I didn't move directly from Puerto Rico to LA. I
Texas,
went
right?
via Texas, which was very different. So when I was looking to move from Texas, I definitely had that in mind that I wanted a place that was more inclusive, for sure, and more freeing. I just felt like I had to explain who I was a lot. Even if there's a big Latino community in Texas, but it's not uh very diverse even within the Latino community. So
Hmm.
it was something that I actually was conscious about. But I really do see. I was in Lubbock, some small town in the by the Panhandle, and but I do see Lubbock how has changed in the last 10 years. Getting some things that have gotten worse and some things have gotten better. So I think we should always keep working on our small towns too, because not everybody can afford the city, and not
Yeah.
everybody's made for the city. So um,
Right.
those are things that I think about. I don't know if it's like a sound uh, thought, but that's what I can tell you about that.
I think you're right. And I think the hope that Luke has and what you're saying that we should continue to work on our cities. I mean, I'm going to do a little bit more research here in Fremont, which is supposedly the happiest city in America. And let me see if my LGBT, I will do my experiment too and turn on my sniffies and just kind of put a
Field
little radar
research.
out to see, because you can't be the happiest city if you're not welcoming to all people, at least in my mind. So,
That's right.
yeah, from Rick.
Can I ask you a
Yeah,
question though? How many clubs are there in Fremont?
none.
Good question. Oh,
What?
you see, I
No.
always think that some of these studies are so like cisgender straight people centered.
You know
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, you heard
So
what the criteria I was reading off of some of it, and a lot of it has to just do because Silicon Valley is nearby, if I was to be really
yeah, seventy
honest.
thousand is the medium. That seems very high. Like not
Yeah.
even a
Very
teacher
high.
makes that.
Oh,
Not
the
even a
Bay
teacher
Area.
makes that.
Well, you guys, I'm talking about the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
And when
Well,
which
that's true.
used Silicon used to be, of course, San Jose and San Francisco, of course, and nobody. I mean, it's outpriced itself. Also, it's really bad in San Francisco right now and in general. And it's just bleeded out to the nearby cities in Fremont because at one point it housed Tesla here. And so, that's one of the reasons. And for a few other reasons, but the nature part of it, I agree with, but I'm not so sure about, LGBTQ plus people. I could be wrong, but there
Hmm.
is no club to answer your initial question. From Ricky to Luke to Russell, and I'm talking about Russell Tovey and our lovely men that we're talking about. Russell
Mhm.
Tovey knows his big ears turn you on, which I think is so great. And fans have long described Russell Tovey's ears as adorable. Some have said they're sexy, but we all know him from Looking. But of course, he's in the current Swans right now. He's been in American Horror Story, NYC, and he just keeps giving and giving. In fact, he has a t-shirt out that says Russell Tovey's ears are my kink. And I think it's really cool. He was talking about his ears. I noticed them a long time ago too, and looking and but I think it's really great when you embrace something about yourself. First of all, who's going to be kicking Russell out of your bed? I mean, he's so hot in so many ways. I would imagine, though, growing up, that maybe we all have something about ourselves that maybe we are self-conscious about, or a body part that, I don't know. I've always had various parts of my body too. Like my chest grows bigger than my legs do, but my butt grows really big, but not at the same rate as my quads. And I've learned to kind of work with fashion to kind of not camouflage, but accentuate what my
Hmm.
body actually how it works best for me. But what do you think, Teddy, when you hear of him embracing something that could be maybe he was teased about growing up, but now he's embracing it, and now it's apparently one of his sexiest attributes? Hello.
Teddy?
Are you asking me?
Yes, sorry.
Yes. I was like, is
Sorry,
he
I thought you
gone?
said
I know.
Cody.
I have nothing to say because
That was
yeah.
just dead air. I was
I
like,
know
Oh
what
my
is
god.
going on?
I wasn't looking at our screen, our other screen, to the one that we record on. I'm like, "Oh
Uh-huh.
no, we've dropped the show."
I'm sorry. Oh, that's funny. No, I can talk to about myself because my body has changed in the last like 5 years. I got some COVID weight on, and I actually feel more sexy in this body than
Ooh,
before
nice.
because I don't know. I just really was really successful within the bear community, and successful as in hookups and things, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
we know.
Okay. So I just feel like it's an asset to me, like, because before I used to be very conscious about, hitting the gym a lot, and like, you have to be very measure with, and you were talking about your quads and things.
Right.
You have to target all of that, and it's very scientific almost.
It is.
So now I'm a little more free. Some of it is because I have way less time that I had like 5 years ago.
Right.
But all at the same time, I'm finding like one of the side effects is that I feel more sexy when I'm hooking up within my community because there's more to love. So,
I love that.
mhm.
Yes.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, it's so interesting too because you can't go on any of your social media, or heaven forbid you go back on Facebook, or you've got Instagram photos where it constantly reminds you 10 years ago,
Oh
here's
my
what you
God,
looked like. I
time
hate those.
hop.
I mean, I know I hate those things. Sometimes I'm happy because, of course, I love the memory. Other times I'm like, look at how I looked then. But you have to embrace yourself, who you are today. And what do you think of what Russell's saying? And then how do you relate to that? Or don't you?
First of all, I thought you were talking about Russell Wilson at first, and I was like, "Ooh, he's so hot." But I know who Russell Tovey is. I loved him
Okay.
in Being Human. And that was my first experience with him, and he's
Mhm.
still super cute. So I think that it's great that he is recognizing and becoming more comfortable with things that he was probably teased for when he was growing up. I personally was teased for having more feminine features, I feel like. So, but that
Aw.
has, I know, I think that that has made me more vigilant to become more manly or masculine or what have you. But I've definitely come to accept it, and even I don't know if I'm at the point yet where I think I look at it as something that I think is beautiful about myself. I mean, I think I'm attractive, but I wish that I had like a stronger jaw and a bigger nose and some of those things that manly men have. But it's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, and I'm just taking it day by day, and hopefully I'll get where Russell Tovey is.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, go ahead.
Cody is funny because that's the attribute that I find the most sexy about you.
Really, I would
Yeah,
be a great drag queen if I wasn't so hairy.
No, I just find it like, because you're having met you in person, like, you present very masculine, but you have like this femininity towards, which is like a cute little sprinkle on top of the beautiful Sunday that you are.
Well, thank you,
So,
dear. I appreciate
yum,
that.
yum, yum. Just saying.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, I really think it, with age and all, by the way, I was telling all the ages. So Ricky 52, Luke Evans 44, and Russell 40.
Cody.
Cody, blah, 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 blah,
27.
blah.
27.
And Russell
Forever.
Tovey 42. I feel like you're somewhere in that mix, somewhere in that
I am
age
somewhere in
group.
there. Yeah.
And sadly, I'm older than all three of them. But anyway, I just think that with age comes a wisdom and an acceptance of yourself. And, you know, that is one good thing about aging, is because you can reflect a little bit more. I mean, all these three that I just were talking about were all reflecting on their age and what life was like before and how they're embracing life today. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about aging, is when you can kind of do that. And it can only, it does actually, to quote a very famous person, it does get better in my mind. And if you're doing the work. And so I don't know. I'm really happy to hear from all three of them. Let's give some advice, and let's stay on age here for a second, because I was struck by two different Redditors who were talking about feeling old in their 30s, which is crazy. The first person wrote, I turned 30 a few months ago and feel like absolute crap. I've struggled with my weight since I was a child, and whilst I know I'm objectively speaking not unattractive, as I've had plenty of hookups, I still feel less worthy as a gay man because of it. I'm currently at my lowest weight I've been for about 5 years, and whilst I'm proud of that, I still have so much shame and disgust towards my body. I feel like no man is ever going to want me because of it, and in my worst moments, I start punching myself in the stomach because I know that's the area I feel a lot of disgust about. Moving on though to a very similar one, somebody wrote, how do you put the idea of too old to rest? What do you do to stamp out and reassure yourself when you get the idea in your head that you're too old to do or change anything in your life, such as too old to go out and have some fun one night, too old to get into a relationship with someone new, too old to explore a new kink? I'm having some very intrusive thoughts as I enter my late 30s. Here we go. And not
Girl.
exactly like I know where things in my life are at. And sometimes find myself dealing with the intrusive thought of being too old for most things. Well, we were just talking about a set of men, albeit celebrities, that are in their 40s to early 50s and the positivity that they're all spewing out, which I think is great. Now, are we in a different phase right now where the young lot are feeling the pressures of success, maybe money, financials, or maybe just getting laid and finding a boyfriend that maybe we haven't seen before? Because to me, 30, when somebody says they're in their 30s, I'm like, oh, child, you're so young. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got like, you're just starting off. This is a great time. These people, I'm sensing a trend. And when you hear this, Kodi, what are your thoughts?
Wow, that person that said that they were punching themselves in the stomach, that's so sad to me. I really feel like it's easier said than done, of course, but I feel like they should just revel in the fact that they are where they are right now, and they've lost so much weight, and it's just a positive thing to look at. I feel like they should go and talk to somebody about that. That's really disheartening to me. As far as the person who is just is in their late 30s and feeling like they're too old to do anything else, that is really wild to me. I feel I'm a little bit older than that, just a little bit. And I feel like I am not too old to do anything. I've never felt that way before. I maybe it's because I'm so young at heart. That's kind of corny to say, but it's really true. I feel like I hang around older people, younger people. I feel like hanging around younger people really keeps me in that mindset that I can do anything at any time. Maybe it's what I've been told as I was growing up. I'm trying to find where the disconnect is for this guy, but he's also someone that I feel like he should really talk to someone so he can get out of this mentality, because it's wild to me.
To me, age ain't nothing but a number, to
That's right.
quote Aaliyah. And honestly, I just think we're proving time and time again these days that people, what used to be 40, 50, and 60 is way like when my parents were this age, it seemed old. But now people are doing all kinds of things, and our energy, we're living longer, and it's exciting to try new things. I feel better than ever in my early 50s, and I just think there must be some disconnect with, I think there is an ageist population for the younger lot that I'm seeing, because 30s should not be old. And I mean, it should be one of the most exciting times, and there should be so many choices. And I understand that it's hard right now with finances, and maybe you're trying to figure things out, but some of this seems dire. When you hear this, Teddy, what
Mhm.
are your thoughts?
Well, let's put it into context. These kids, you guys that are in your 30s, kids, listen to me. Your
Yeah, read them.
your brain just stopped developing at 25. That's when you're fully developed. Your brain of a human being develops at 25, and you're telling me that 5 years later you're already too old and you're ready to
Right.
be put to bed. Come on, this your life just started, so it is time to gain new perspectives, and we're things are going to get faster and faster and faster. So you need to learn how to pivot and have a new reframe on your life. And it should be positive, because if everything is shittier, then it's not going to be like that saying it gets better. Then it's going to enjoy it because it's going to get worse. That would be like a very sad way to live life. Don't we think? So
Yes.
use the wisdom, and you have more access to things when you're older. You have more money, hopefully. And all of those things are good things, even though your back hurts a little bit when you wake up, you know, but
And your
that's okay.
knees.
Your knees, there's always Bengay, it's just saying.
Or gay Ben.
Or
Uh-huh.
gay Ben, yeah.
And
I
sometimes
mean,
you have to use them both at the same time.
Hey, hey, hey.
but honestly, I mean, it really is. And if you do find yourself in such dire need, I mean, it's maybe the time to perhaps get off of social media a little bit more and get out a little bit more and potentially think about therapy too, because really, you shouldn't be having these thoughts in your 30s. I feel I didn't when I in my 30s, but I understand it's a different time frame. So I don't
Mhm.
really know what it would be like to be 30 today. And I do remember I had a lot more angst and anxiety in my 30s, but I turned that anxiety into energy as best that I could during those times. Because, you're trying to figure out, are we going in this career path? Should I do this? Should I do that? Where should I live? It can
Right.
be a little overwhelming. I remember that part of it, but these are sounding a little bit dire, I think, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
we need to help them. And hopefully they'll look at some of what we were reading a few minutes ago of people in their 40s and 50s, that no, it's an exciting time. So
Yeah.
hopefully
That's
we
what
can
I mean.
I want to add something else
Go
too.
ahead.
So I also have noticed that the people that will be successful and more happy is the people that have the ability to actually slow down. The people that actually are able to kind of enjoy the view, kind of just slow down and okay, I'm here, I'm off my phone. Let me have an experience with these people. Are the people that will be able to actually enjoy because if you're in that mess all the time and that fast 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 and with
right.
AI, but just the thought of how automation, the next level of automation is going to be, it scares me. And I really do believe that the people that have the ability to slow down and actually engage in assessment of what they're doing and be better are the ones that are going to succeed, and the other ones are going to get run over. So that's something to think about too.
It's really important because you're right. Things are only going to get faster and more anxiety driven. And one of the things that saves me all the time is an intention I set all the time. Many, but one of them is to be in the moment. And
Hmm.
we were talking offline right before we started the show on yesterday was Easter. And my whole intention to the day was not look at the phone. I shot a couple social media things that I was going to post later, but it was really enjoy my family, be in the moment. And we had the longest but the most beautiful day ever, and I take that recipe to most my days, even if I'm busy busy busy, to take every situation, if it's a meeting here, if it's a podcast, if it's an editing situation, if it's an OnlyFans, to be in that moment, to enjoy that moment, so that you're not caught up in what, like you're suggesting, and which we know is only going to get faster and faster and faster, and it's going to be harder to survive. So I agree with you on that. Let's give some more advice. And this one's a little bit more fun because they're asking the question on a recent Reddit: what makes you feel like someone is interested in you? And Cody, I know we wanted to do this for so long, this particular story, because it was fun. And
Oh
it
yeah.
says, I've been seeing a guy for a couple of months, they write, that rarely asks anything about me. How am I doing? How was my trip overseas? My hobbies, families. When he does, I have the mic for a few seconds, one text, laughing out loud. On the other hand, I know a lot about him, his family, his friends, because he openly shares daily via Instagram photos, texts, and dates what he's been up to. And I've been asking questions here and there to get to know him. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have to share without being prompted. But even then, I feel he 80% of the time redirects towards his experiences. This makes me feel like I am an audience and not much more. Occasionally, I would text something and the follow up has nothing to do with what I've said.
Oh.
Nonetheless, I can say by the way he speaks of family and friends that he is a loyal and nice guy. He brought me treats to work once and recently gave me seeds for my hydroponic system. I don't even know what that is, which I thought was nice of him. He is also very affectionate when together, on and on. Whenever I feel bad about something, in this case, feeling like the person I'm seeing doesn't really have interest in who I am, my reflex is to think it's my fault. Am I being too demanding of people? Should I just always share info even though I am not being asked and not feeling interest? And he asked the question, has anyone ever felt this way? Um, we're all talkers because we do a podcast, and
Obviously.
Teddy, you're a professor, and we're used to probably asking a lot of questions.
Yeah,
So I'll start with you, Teddy.
sure.
Can you relate to this? And what's your advice to this guy?
Well, first of all, hydroponics is a system of
Girl, thank you, Professor.
growing. It's growing plants without dirt. It's just some water.
Oh,
So all the
Oh.
nutrients are there. It's kind of like very futuristic, actually.
ooh,
It seems to me, as a non-practitioner of dating, is that these people have very different love language,
yeah.
very different love languages, because one of them feels affirmed with words, and the other one it's affirming him with things. So that's
Mm.
the separation, and I think those two people sound like lovely people, and it's just that he is not as auditory as his partner, right? So to him, caring for him is, oh, I brought you some seeds. That's amazing, right?
Really great. A treat to work,
Yeah,
also.
so but he's not a guy of being like, oh, tell me about their day. Like, he's not that person. So he has to communicate to him saying, hey, by the way, it's important to me to check in and kind of that you care about my day. Right. And the flip side, he's probably not serving the needs of his partner because he's probably not a gifting person. Right.
Mm.
Mm.
So
So
there's another Reddit for that, is what you're saying.
yeah, that's a different love language. It's a different love language. I am a time person. Like, I don't give gifts, but I will make time to see you, to go to your thing. And most of the people are not that way, so they don't understand that when I make time for them, I'm loving them. So you have to communicate that, and be loved in the way that you want to be loved. If that's what they want, be together and love each other, right?
It's so great. What you're saying, it reminds me a lot of, and you'll relate to this, Teddy, a lot, is acting. There's
Hmm.
acting, obviously, is memorizing your lines and the script, but it's also doing, especially when you're on camera. Like, you can have scenes and scenes and scenes with very minimal dialogue, but you're doing, and it's the act of doing. That is acting. And it's the difference between somebody showing their love or their appreciation towards somebody in a doing fashion, and the other one
Hmm.
does it in a more communicative fashion. And I get
Hmm.
that, and I love that you said that. I have been spending some time with somebody in New York. I've been recently talking about this person, and he has suggested that, he gets a little anxiety about the boyfriend term and all that stuff. And now
Oh,
we're not there yet at all, so don't worry. And I'm not throwing that. I mean, I joked around with it a couple times, but in general, I took him to dinner recently, and he is really good with the texting. And I sent him, Happy Easter, baby, yesterday. And then he was at a spot in New York that we often go to, and he said, I'm thinking about you and missing you tonight. And
oh.
that spoke volumes for me just by him saying that. I've been really comfortable sharing with him that, I have my OnlyFans. And he says, I know you do. And I'm really good. He's just wants honesty. And we're doing this nice dance that's really all about communication, but we both communicate differently. But I know when
Mhm.
I take a move forward, he reciprocates in his own way, but it's equally met in my way, and I receive it. And this dance that we're on right now is really working for me. Everybody has a different way of communicating and showing their interest in you. And I think you just have to, if you want it one way and you give it, you have to then know that it may not be reciprocated the same way. And it sounds like in this situation, you're getting it. It's just not the same exact way. But you could tell them that, maybe ask me a few things but I would save that for a longer point in the relationship. Don't scare them off too
Mm.
early and start complaining, would be my other bit of advice. But Ted or Cody, what do you say to this advice here?
Well, at first I was going to say dump him because he
Oh
just
my
sound.
god.
Wow.
So I'm
Okay.
glad you had Teddy go first because it provided me with some context about love languages and things of that nature. So this is actually something that I've been struggling with as far as receiving the love, the love that other people are giving to me when it's not in the form that I am used to receiving or giving love. So I think that it's very important that you, like you were saying, learn to your partner's love language and then receive it and really to acknowledge that they are doing their best to love you and to show you that they love you.
Mhm.
I also think that you have to. I don't think it's too early to tell him about your love language. I think the earlier the better because then they will know how you like to be loved and how you receive how you show love as well because that's an indicator of how you show love. But I think that like scaring them away, I think that is like I'm ready to scare somebody away if they aren't willing to understand how I love them or how I like to be
Okay, I hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah, all good perspectives. I love
loved.
it.
I'm a scary man.
Well, it doesn't have to be like sit down, let me tell you my love
Thank you.
language. It
Yes,
could
Right.
just be
yes, it
like,
does.
no, no, it could be just like, you know what? I love it when you tell me about your day. It's like my favorite thing. And then it turns something on in their head, right? It
Mm.
make it casual.
Mm.
Talking about acting.
Thank you.
That is very subtle. I'm not used to
He's like,
that.
this is what you're
Is
not
that
doing. Oh, come
is that
on,
passive
come on.
aggressive though, Teddy?
No, because I'm communicating. Passive aggressive is getting mad and not saying what it is. I'm fine. I think that's
Right.
passive aggressive. Do we
Yeah.
Okay,
have the
yeah.
definition? Okay, okay.
You're just saying I really love it when you share with me
Yeah,
your day
because
and
it's an actionable thing. It's not. I'm not telling you something to do. An example is like I'm affirming. Oh, when you do this, I love it.
right, and they can take it however they want, but hopefully they'll get the hint too
Yeah,
that yeah.
yeah.
Um, lastly, this one's an easy one. They wrote on a separate Reddit, "Are there any alternatives to a dildo
Oh,
aside from the actual dick?" I say no, because there was a recent story where a Taiwanese man was hospitalized after ramming a coconut up his rectum. And I've told the story before where I actually used proper a blow up type dildo. It had a pump on it and it separated from the pumping region and it got stuck in me. You can listen to old stories where I really went into detail and had to go to the hospital and it got stuck, but it was an actual dildo. One I won't use anymore, obviously. And we
Mm.
were able to get it out of me.
oh
They
my
weren't
god.
able to get the coconut out of this man in Taiwan and
Wait,
had
the
to
coconut's still inside of
What?
him?
well, this is what they told me in my surgery at the time. It was a dildo, and they said, "We need you to work with us to help get this out." And we had that monitor, and there was like 8 nurses and the surgeon, and we got it out by pushing and all this kind of stuff, and it worked. A coconut, because it's round and not meant to go up your ass,
Mm.
they couldn't get it out. And what they had to do, which is what they warned me, they said, if we can't get your dildo out, you will have to go upstairs and we will have to perform surgery, which means opening up your stomach. And you don't want to do that
Mm-mm.
because now we're talking, aside from finances on how much that's going to cost now, you don't want them cutting you open and heaven forbid mucking up some other area. And this is what they had to do with the Taiwanese man because a coconut is not going to come out
I have a
anytime
question
soon.
about
Yeah.
this. It's giving me anxiety.
Okay.
This is
I'm over here sweating. I'm glad I'm not
this
the
is
only
a
one.
full coconut. We're talking about like an island coconut, or we're talking about like a tiny coconut.
I think it was a smaller coconut that hadn't
Because
developed as
coconuts are like
much.
4 inches, like all around.
But that's the problem. Yeah, it was wide. I mean, just in answer to the original question, is there any alternative to a dildo? The answer, besides real cock, no. Use a
Mm.
dildo and use lube. Just stick with the basics. Come on. And
One of
that's
those
what.
pylons. Let's we
No, the
What is a
What-
pylon?
that that the thing that they use to cut off traffic in when they're
oh
working on
oh
the
my God. See,
No.
traffic
the
cone.
answer
That's what they call it.
the answer no, no, no,
No.
and no.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this man could probably take it because he's
I
got a
don't.
coconut up his butt still. Wow.
But
He
it's
had to
not the
have
same
surgery
guy
to
though.
remove the coconut, and yeah,
Wait, is this the guy that's on Reddit? The guy with the coconut in his? It's not the same guy.
No, it's
no,
not the
no.
same
I
guy.
paired up two stories there, and
Yeah.
why you shouldn't put anything up your ass other than an
Mhm.
actual dick or a dildo.
But
So,
what about a glass dildo?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those, but they sell them in adult stores, and it's a glass apparently that is shatterproof, but I would have anxiety with that because glass near my anal region, forget it. No, I say
Yeah.
no.
Well, I have one, and I was thinking about experimenting with it a little bit because
Really?
I brought it to Kansas.
Why
She
can't you
might be in
just
her
use a
bottom
real
era.
dildo or a real cock?
That's too much, girl.
Okay. Well, you let us know how that goes as well. You've got a lot of reporting to do over
I
there in
got some
Kansas
He
on
work.
has a lot of field
assignment.
research.
You can follow him though, and maybe he'll report on some of this stuff. He's a life coach, Kodi, and you can follow him on the gram at KMD Coaching, but also follow him on his personal account at Mr. Maurice. He's also got a brand new single called Talk About It, inspired by this show, Talk About Gay Sex. Talk About It by Kodi Maurice is available wherever you download your music. So
Yes.
download it now. It's really, really good. I love it.
Thank you,
And
boo.
yes, absolutely. You can follow Teddy at Teddy Alexis on Twitter. You can also follow him on Instagram at Teddy Alexis. Are you still doing your show?
Yeah, 2 more weekends here in LA. If you're in LA, hit me up. I'll give you some free tickets.
The name of the
Ooh.
show to promote it?
We're doing the 10-minute Frida Kahlo Festival. I'm doing my show called Viable Family. I wrote it and directed it. It's really cute.
Wow, I'm gonna get my friend to go see it, and that's in LA because that sounds
Awesome.
really good. I love
Yeah.
it. You can follow me on Instagram. I am _Steve V, or go to my Twitter account at TAGSPodcast, where you can get a preview of my OnlyFans. The link to OnlyFans is there. Sexy Poppy Steve V. Guys, thanks so much. We had so much to talk about on this Monday in spring.
Yay.
And we are live on Wednesday. Kodi and I. Thank you, Teddy, for filling in for Mr. Maurice last week as well.
Anytime.
Yeah,
Thank you, boo.
we'll be back. And in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot
gay
Gay
sex.
sex.
Woo!